Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 7, part 2 of the reunion, and I'm annoyed. So let's get into it. So before we get into it, we gonna get a little spicy. And right now, what we're gonna talk about this situation with Juan. So all of a sudden, there's this video or this boomerang going around on Twitter and on Instagram and then on TikTok. And it was Juan posted up with this girl, and they were like dancing with gang detergent and fabric softener. And the girl has on a Coppin State basketball polo. Like, I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, oh, she looks like she's doing work study, or she might be like a team aide to the basketball team, because I saw basketball on the shirt. But now on TikTok and on Instagram and even on Twitter, people are pushing that like this is a young lady that Karen was talking about that Juan was out around town. Mind you, the girl don't even look like Karen. And I'll post a screenshot, but I'm going to put a sticker on her face, because there's a part of me that doesn't feel like this is right to push this narrative if in fact she is a student. She looks like she could be like a student doing work study. Mind you, we've heard several stories about how Coppin, however you say that university, they don't have the means or the funds to wash jerseys. Like Robin and Juan will go home and bring the students' jerseys with him to wash them. And granted, I always was like, shouldn't the basketball players be washing their own jerseys? But then again, you know, if they always playing all the time, then it costs money. Because normally I know in my dorm, the washer and dryer was like $1 a piece. And then if you went to the laundromat, I think it was like $1.25 and then like 75 cents for the dryer. So I was like, maybe that's why they don't want to keep charging the kids, especially if you got games back to back. So when I saw the laundry detergent in the game, I was like, oh, she must be helping doing laundry detergent. Turns out she's a coworker. Someone found out that like she's a coworker. So I'm like, why are y'all trying to push this narrative that he cheating on his wife with her? And I get it. People don't like Robin. She ain't made herself she has not made it easy to like her this season. So I get it, but I don't like this for that lady because I think it's wrong. I was like, if y'all don't know the tea or know what's going on, why do you feel so freely to post these pictures of people without context and then push this narrative that like she the side piece? And I could give a rat's ass about Juan, but I feel like that's disrespectful to her. And part of me, when I saw it, I was like, she could be a student. Like, she could be doing work study. She could be like a junior or a senior, or she could be a graduate student. And there's plenty of times that I've seen students with their teachers doing TikToks or doing boomerangs and having fun because they're cool with their teachers. So I didn't think that was fair. Then I saw another picture, and it looks like they're at the laundromat because it has that folding table. And I think the caption was like, the person said, oh, my friend saw Juan at the laundromat with her and they was all hugged up. Mind you, they both have on Coppin State like gear. And I'm like, why y'all think like this could be another coworker? Why do y'all feel so freely to post people's like without their consent? Like, I don't like that. Something about that, like maybe I might have not felt anyway if they didn't have on school gear, but it's giving like they're all at the laundromat as a team and y'all just want to create a narrative because you hate Robin. All right, y'all, bear with me. I'm tired. This is like the 10th time I've tried to record this video. I'm gonna try. So the episode opens up where it left off, where we have Candace and Gizelle still going back and forth. Like, Candace is on Gizelle's neck, and Gizelle can't keep up. Can't keep up. So the question, they reiterate that question that was posed last episode, where a viewer was like, Candace, don't you feel like you made this more than what it is, by implying that there was SA? And Candace is looking like, girl, no. Like, she implied it. And I'm like, yeah, Gizelle implied it. Are we forgetting the scene of Gizelle running to the sprinter trying to say that Chris was out here touching Bert and Ernie's love child on the butt and on the thigh? And then we had Robin and Mia reiterating the story again, but in like different, like saying that, like, I know they said a butt and a thigh and like joking about it. So it's like when Gizelle said the story, she didn't make it seem like it was consensual. So she did imply that he touched that lady without her consent. And that is SA. So they're like Candace is getting more riled up. She was like, you waited 6 months to have this conversation with me when there was ample opportunity for you to talk to me at my album release party, where you were hugging up on me and laughing in my face, like you played in my face just so you could harm me and to hurt my family. And Gizelle's like, no, like she's trying to act like she's not in the wrong for what she did. And then you have Mia sitting down at the end of the, like, with her titan self, sitting down at the edge of the couch, being like, no, well, she felt uncomfortable. That's her right to feel uncomfortable. And Candace telling me to shut up. And I was like, thank you. Shut up, Mia, because you're not adding anything. So Gizelle is getting more frustrated because Candace is really not really allowing her to speak. Candace is talking over her. And Andy cuts in and Andy's like, well, what did he do to make you feel uncomfortable? Like, what did Chris do? And Gizelle's like, I told you, he made me feel uncomfortable. And Andy's like, but what did he do? And Candace is like, yes, Gizelle, what did he do? You keep saying he made you feel uncomfortable, but when we asked what happened, you can't explain yourself. And Candace is like, you talk to Karen, you talk to Robin, and all you keep saying is you feel uncomfortable, but you can't explain it. And like Karen asked Gizelle, like, did he say something to you? Gizelle said no. Did he touch you? Gizelle said no. So it's like, what's the point of you bringing this to camera other than this to be your storyline, and you don't have anything to back it up? You don't have anything to back it up. And the crazy thing is I think Gizelle thought she had a win. Like, she thought she really won with that whole unseen footage where we see her with the IG DM where I said Chris was stupid for even apologizing to that lady. And it's like she thought she won because he said, I apologize if I made you feel uncomfortable. And it's like, no, lady, you still lost. You're still in the wrong for what you did, because it does look like you sat here and you plotted and you planned this. It just didn't go the way you planned. The fact that you sat there and said, I liked Candace, and the only reason I said something is because of the Ashley situation with him DMing Ashley. And I'm like, the Ashley situation wasn't even a situation once we got the context of it. And then I'm like, even if it was a situation, you still look bad, because it's like, if Candace is supposed to be your friend, why not talk to her before the Ashley situation so she could get a handle on it before that could even happen? So she could check Chris in that moment. You wanted to dogpile on Candace. That's what you wanted to do. You just admitted that you wanted to dogpile on her, and you're frustrated and you're angry at the fact that girl didn't give you really what you wanted, and now you're just mad. You're just mad. You're just mad, lady. You're just mad. And so they finally get to Mia with her, with her side comments. And Mia's like, well, what, like, she's saying she was uncomfortable because he was being inappropriate. And the way Gizelle was quickly to dismiss, like, no, he wasn't inappropriate. He just made me feel uncomfortable. Lets me know Gizelle knows what she's doing, and she knows that words mean things. When she was like, I feel like we're arguing semantics, because you know that in context that means something. These words mean things. The fact that you were like, oh, he wasn't inappropriate with me, like, you cut that off real quick. You deaded that real quick because you knew you know what that's going to do, and you're gonna have to walk it back. My thing about it is like, the fact that you can't explain to us or express to us what he did to make you feel uncomfortable makes it feel like you're lying. And I hate to say that, because like we said, we're supposed to believe women, we're supposed to support women, and it's like, you can still support women and be critical of what they're saying. And in this moment, you can tell that Gizelle is full of it, because everyone is asking, like, did he touch you? Did he proposition you? And was he like aggressive? And every time someone tries to give her something, she says no. Even her friend Ashley sitting beside her was like, was it his body language? And she didn't even pick that bone up. And it's like, Gizelle, at this point, just apologize. Just apologize, because and be sincere about it, because you're wrong. Like, you're genuinely wrong. And it's like, it's crazy that she doesn't, because she's like, I'm done talking about this. She's not letting me talk. I'm done talking about it. And so Andy's like, yeah, we'll talk about it once Chris gets out here. But it's like, yeah, girl, you're wrong. So then they get to Ashley's friend, the lady with the eyebrows, and they play back the footage of the spring fling of where supposedly Chris was trying to talk to Deborah. And Andy's asking Ashley, like, what do you think about this? You have this video footage of their interaction, and it doesn't look like he was hitting on her to the viewers or to me. And Ashley's like, well, I don't know Deborah to be a liar. So, she even said that the way the video is set up, that it was like the mouths weren't matching up with the words or whatever. And my thing about it is, like, Ashley, your friend. I was about to say something. Let me not. Your friend is lying. Your friend is lying, because you're not going to tell me that if they had actual video evidence of Chris pushing up on this lady, that they would not show it, because they've shown Michael touching the cameraman without his consent on this show. So I guarantee you, if they had proof of him pushing up on her, they would show it. Your friend's a liar, and your friend's just mad because she thought she was a preference, and the world let her know, girl, you're never gonna be that. You were never that. Check yourself. Really. And her husband's mad too. And it's like, well, you picked her. So Andy starts talking about the whole Happy Eddie comment. And the crazy thing is like Wendy said, the men in this group can't even be respectful or just be normal with women without y'all trying to make it seem like it's something. And I was like, she telling the truth. Like, Eddie smiling or being cordial is like, girl, you're not that girl to think that somebody wants you like that. You're not. She's not. Let me stop. So they then get to the JBL situation where Robin pulls out the JBL speaker, where they're talking about like the different friendships and stuff like that. And then they talk about Candace's IG live. Robin, this whole entire, like, they are playing in Robin's face. They are making Robin look so bad, because they bring up the whole, they bring up the whole situation about, like, Robin bringing out the speaker and how Candace said, you tried to embarrass me in front of everybody, and I wasn't embarrassed. You embarrassed yourself, because I didn't say anything negative about you. I didn't say anything negative about Karen or you. So, and Robin's whole thing is like, well, you mentioned peddling businesses. So I'm thinking you're talking about all of us, because all of us have businesses except Wendy, because, she's a professor. And Candace's whole thing was like, Robin, if you really had an issue because of the way our friendship is set up, you should have talked to me. Like, you should have talked to me. And everyone was like, well, why do you think Robin is so loyal to you? Because Candace did say, Robin is the most loyal. And Candace's whole thing is like, Robin's been my friend since I got on this show. She supported me in everything that I have done. So, of course, I'm going to feel like she's the most loyal. Wendy was kind of like taken aback. But then I'm looking at Wendy with the side eye, because of that article where you said you had the most trust, or you felt very close to Ashley. So I'm like, girl, okay. So Robin puts her foot in her mouth, like down her throat, where she's like, why are you so upset? This is towards Candace, where she's like, Candace, why are you so upset with what I had to say when this happened during filming? So then they end up flashing like 2 weeks later with the whole expose where Robin's on Watch What Happens Live, and she's being questioned about the whole Juan situation. And I feel two ways about this. One, I understand what Robin is saying, where she's like, well, if you did the live during filming, why can't I bring it to the show? But then it's like, Robin, if Juan was out here cheating while y'all was filming, why didn't you bring it to the show? Because if this happened in 2021, then season 6 is when we should have been talking about it. But nobody bring that to the show, and you didn't bring that to the show. So it was like, I was like, Robin, shut up. You already, the way they are doing these sound bites, we got the one of you saying, well, can we all just agree no married man should be in a hotel room with a single woman? Now we got you saying this, and they is running you, they raking you through the coals, sis. They are raking you through the coals. So then this segment ends with them all going to lunch. So we then have a scene where we see the guys come. I thought it was cute to see everybody, with they man, my man. Candace and Chris dapping each other up, and then Eddie and Wendy seem like they be having a good time. Like, they're always giggling and laughing, and they make such a nice looking couple that it was just like, oh, they're cute. So we get back, but before we get back on stage, Candace sees G and she's like, hi, G. And G's like, I can't hug you. I say, see, now y'all gonna be cracking these types of jokes. So they get back on the stage and a viewer poses a question to Karen where the person basically said, Karen, why are you always stealing everybody's ideas? And Karen's like, I was like, girl, yeah, you do be stealing. But people let it go because you're the fan favorite and they think it's cheeky and cute. But you be out here stealing and lying. And Karen is like, they play the clip. So they bring up the candles and Karen's like, no offense to Wendy, but like, I already had my candle idea in the making. I've had La Dame for 4 years and I was letting Wendy have her shine and then I was coming out with my candles. Then you have her talking about the live show where she's pretty much saying like, oh, it had nothing to do with Gizelle and Robin. I had told them before that I was considering to do a live show. And she was like, and then Andy said something about like, well, where did you get your inspiration? Because I thought it was off of the cabaret, like the Countess Cabaret, which I think I said in one of my reviews that I thought like, she was trying to do a cabaret like Luann. And she was like, no, because she was like, no, it was really Carol Burnett. But then Andy clocks and was like, well, during the reunion, not the reunion, but during the season, you said it was because of Wendy Williams because she's your friend. So it's like Karen don't know what lie she want to stick to. She don't know what lie she want to stick to. And honestly, both shows looked boring. You had Robin and Gizelle look corny and boring. And then you had Karen's thing that looked unorganized. And she lied about it because she made it seem like she was performing an act or like doing something. But we found out you just hosted. Why would I want to go see that? So we then get to, everyone was going up for Robin calling, everyone was going up for Karen for calling Robin's fans boring. Because Andy was like, what are your fans called? And she said the La Dames. And Andy was like, what would Robin's fans be called? And she was like, boring. And mind you, I don't follow a lot of Robin supporters on Twitter, but we call them the Robinitas. I like that more, the Robinitas. But like they're going so hard for Robin. It's wild. It's wild. Like Robin got fans like everybody got fans. I said, okay, Robin. So we then get to Gizelle's segment where they're talking to Gizelle about her dating the guy from Summer House or Winter House. He's like 16 years younger than her. Honestly, the picture that they showed gave very much like mother-son vibes. Like it get honestly not even mother-son vibes. It gave auntie vibes. Like Gizelle is pretty, but like there's no chemistry in these pictures. Like it looks like this is a PR stunt to me. They then start talking about her hysterectomy and dealing with fibroids. And Gizelle talks about how a lot of people reached out to her saying that like, she was shocked by the outpour of people saying that they felt seen with her situation. And like Candace said, it's because this is the first time you ever showed something that was genuinely real about you. Of course, people would like want to care. So while they're, Andy and her are talking, and Andy's like, well, how did it feel to talk about this with your kids? And she's like, it was hard because I knew they were going to be scared. And you see Gizelle getting like emotional. And she was like, we can talk about this later. And he's like, no, we're going to talk about this now. And I said, yes, talk about this now. Because Gizelle is allowed to scapegoat, or like not scapegoat, but she's allowed to shift or escape like taking accountability or really talking about real things that are happening in her life. Because she's supposed to be like this ice queen, this stoic princess, when it's like you're on a show to be real. And it's not like we should have every ounce of your life, but you should give us something that's authentic to you. And Gizelle has yet to do that since Sherman. So Gizelle is like, you could tell, getting very emotional. And we find out that her surgery, which was supposed to be 3 hours or 3 hours and a half, turned out to be 8 hours. She was supposed to go home, but because she was under anesthesia for that long, they had to leave her. Like, she had to stay at the hospital. I think she also said something had happened with her bladder where it seemed to have gotten like compacted or something like that. And like, she was like, her kids are like, they're still kind of traumatized by it. They don't even like talking about it because they thought she was dead. We find out that Gizelle has a sister. She been on this show for 7 seasons and we have yet to hear about her having a sister. Honestly, I thought Gizelle was an only child, because the only person only people who we've seen be related to her has been her mom and dad, and I don't think they've ever mentioned she had a sister. I said a sister because we find out that like while all the surgery was happening, she was corresponding, or the person, or maybe the nurse was corresponding with the sister, but eventually correspondence stopped and the girls were really worked up and they thought she passed away because pretty much she was supposed to come home and she ended up having to stay at the hospital. And what's sad is like Gizelle was like, you could tell, like having a very emotional moment, but I didn't feel nothing for her. And even like, and you know what the issue is? It's because Gizelle has given us nothing. Like I said, you don't have to tell us everything. And I'm not even expecting everybody to tell us everything, but you have to give us enough to where we feel like we can build a connection. And none of us have yet to build a connection with Gizelle that's like rooted in like her reality. Like, I even felt something for Lisa Rinna when her mom passed away, and the way she was crying about it when they were at when they were in Mexico. I even felt something for Erica Jane when she was breaking down, talking about like, you know, even though I thought she was putting on "This Is My Life," like I felt for her. And it's like, I didn't feel nothing for Gizelle, and that's sad. Like, I felt bad for her kids because I was like, that has to be a terrifying situation to think that your mom is gone. Like, because I love my mama, so I wouldn't hate for to be in that position. But like, I just didn't feel anything for Gizelle. And I was like, that sucks because you've been on this show for 7 seasons and I don't feel nothing for you. Like, I don't feel nothing. That says a lot. That says a lot that we have yet to be able, like, well, I'll say not we, but I have yet to be able to really connect with you or feel something towards you, because I was just like, oh, okay. I just say it. That's sad to me. So we then get on to the whole Peter and Mia and Wendy situation. All right, so we get into the Mia and Wendy situation. Honestly, the restaurant storyline was stupid to me because it didn't make sense why Wendy wanted to open up a restaurant. And then to find out that she was talking to Ashley when it's like, girl, her kangaroo hut didn't last for even 2 years. Like, what are we talking about? So they get on the situation of the fight. Andy is like, Mia, you throwing a drink on her didn't make sense because I don't think she did anything to warrant that. Mia says where she kept talking and then she brought up my family. And then Candace chimes in where she was like, she didn't talk about your family until you threw the drink on her. Like, once you threw the drink on her, my bad, y'all. I heard something. Once you threw the drink on her, she was like all bets were off. So then you have Wendy, who you could tell got mad, like she was good, but then she got even more mad watching it back. And then to hear Mia wasn't really taking ownership, she was like, it's been almost a year and you still can't take ownership that you like violated me, and she was like, the only reason I didn't like beat your ass is because I have so much that I can lose from fighting on TV. Then Andy brings up Robin pretty much saying that like, you should like, no, Andy brings up Robin and saying that Wendy was being the aggressor or being antagonistic. And Robin was like, wait, I think it's getting lost in translation because I said that because I did not want to see Wendy fight on camera. I was telling her, like, if you don't want to fight, don't keep going back and forth with her. And we then end up seeing unseen footage where Robin is telling Wendy, do you want to fight her? And Wendy's like, no. And she was like, then stop talking. Or at least if you are going to fight her when the cameras is off. Which I don't have a problem with that. If you going to fight with no evidence. Okay. So, so Robin is trying to explain that, like, no, like, I don't think what Mia did was right, but I could understand why she did it. But I don't think what she did was right. And I didn't want to see her fight. I didn't want to see Wendy fight on camera. So then Wendy is pretty much like, I can't receive that because I'm the one that got attacked, but I'm being labeled as the aggressor. And I was like, yeah, I understand Wendy being like, yeah, no. Wendy keeps saying she don't F with Mia. She not going to F with her. Like, it is like, you're like, and then Mia's like, okay, you don't have to F with me. Like, girl, it's whatever. Like, Mia seems like she don't care, but I think she does care. Then you got Gizelle being like, well, y'all touch, like, didn't y'all show each other your cooch? And you can see Wendy getting worked up because she starts crying because she was like, I am strong, but like, I ain't that strong. Like, girl, it took a lot of strength and resolve for me not to, like, do you real quick. It took a whole lot of me not to do that to you. And that's when Gizelle made the comment about the vaginas. And Wendy's like, girl, we were on tequila. Vagina. If I saw her vagina, she saw my vagina. It's tequila. It's whatever. They then bring up Ashley and the whole, her writing a statement for Monique. And how it was like a lot of hypocrisy was going on, which is true. Like, they start talking about Gizelle and how Gizelle pretty much was like, you basically condone what happened to Wendy. And Giselle's like, no, and it's not the same as what happened to Candace. What happened to Candace, I felt like Monique beat her up. What happened to Wendy, she just threw a drink. And then I liked how Andy came back at Gizelle and was like, you keep wanting people to validate your feelings of you being uncomfortable, but you have her saying that she felt violated. Why can't you validate her feelings right there? And then Giselle's like, because I don't like her. And it's funny to me. It is extremely funny to me that a lot of people are disgusted by that sentiment that Gizelle did, but a lot of the same people who are like disgusted with Gizelle acted exactly like Gizelle and Robin when it came to Candace and Monique, even though they knew Monique was wrong. But because they did not like Candace, it was justifiable. But now because y'all like Wendy and y'all hate Gizelle and Robin, like, oh, she's wrong, Giselle's wrong, Robin's wrong. But y'all were the ones that reiterated, and it showed that same exact behavior. It's a whole bunch of fan pages and even Twitter users that I saw who are heavy into Real Housewives of Potomac fandom that were gleefully saying that Candace deserved that. And if they saw Candace on the street, she would catch a fade too. I remember people being in Clubhouse going off on Candace. Candace hopped on one of the platforms and it was grown women like in their 40s and 50s threatening to dog walk her because they didn't like her. And saying that she deserved it. And it's like, it's funny how y'all can see it when it comes to Gizelle and Wendy, but you couldn't see it when it came to Candace and Monique. They then bring up Ashley's hypocrisy where she ran to Wendy's defense, but she didn't do the same with Candace. And you can still tell Candace is still not really fully over what happened with her and Monique, because as they're bringing up Monique's name and Ashley is saying, well, they were dragging Monique. Candace had all this support. They were saying that she was a piss poor example of a black woman, and Candace like, she is. And I laughed because I was like, what did y'all expect Candace to say? That lady put her hands on her. She probably thinks that lady is the scum of the earth. And I was like, I can't fault nobody that. If you put your hands on me, like, you're trash to me. You are. You are gum on the bottom of my shoe. Like, you crossed the line with me that we will never come back from. But Ashley, and that's the thing, I will never see it for Ashley after she made that statement on Candace. And my thing is, like, even if I didn't like Candace when that happened, I still wouldn't see it for Ashley because Ashley did not see the fight. You did not see the fight, but you felt very calm and you felt very justified to write this letter backing Monique because you hated Candace. where you pretty much were trying to defame her and mess up her legal case. And now look at you out here signing papers, and you weren't even smart enough to get an attorney, but you were smart enough to talk to Monique's attorney to help her out, but you couldn't help yourself out. Not smart. Not smart whatsoever. We then see Jacqueline is there, and she has her receipts. I'm going to skip to Jacqueline being at the end of the coming out on the stage so we can talk about the whole colorism thing as the last part. So Jacqueline comes out on the stage. They start to have a conversation. We find out that Mia sent a group text, and in the group text, she basically told them that she says she needs to be planning what is for dinner with her food stamp card and unemployment check now that she got fired and back living with her mama while her house is being sent in foreclosure. Priorities are backwards. So it seems like they were having a exchange in the group chat, like they were fighting in the group chat. And Andy asks me like, did Jacqueline treat you like you were like her understudy or her sidekick or her runt or her grunt worker? And Mia's like, no, her family took me in when I was young. They treated me like a family. You can kind of tell that Mia is embarrassed by her behavior, but I also think Mia is still living off her survival. I think Mia felt like the women were probably liking Jacqueline a bit too much, and she was like, no, this is mine. Like, you're not going to take this away from me. But I'm like, well, you asked her to be on the show. So what was the point? Like, what was the point? I still don't feel that bad for Jacqueline because, like I've been saying, birds of a feather flock together. And that comment that Jacqueline made when they were on the plane where she pretty much says, well, you don't know what it's like to have family around. I thought that was nasty. When you know your friend has been pushed around foster home to foster home. Her mom's a drug addict. And then her dad died in prison. Like, if that was supposed to be your sister or your friend, and you say something like that, you don't really care about her the way you say you care about her. Jacqueline calls Mia unhinged, and which I can understand why she said that because Mia ends up saying that like, y'all know like we could be arguing and then the next day I forget what we were arguing about and I can move on, or I forget what I say and I can move on. And Jacqueline says that's unhinged behavior, especially coming from you, especially when they bring up the whole like text message situation about my house being in foreclosure when your business is in shambles. And Jacqueline's like, I got the receipts. Do you want to talk about them? So then Mia brings out her own little like diamond studded or silver studded box with glitter, and she brings out her own receipts. So next episode we gonna be seeing them sling mud back and forth. But honestly, what it seems to me is that Mia is holding on to this Real Housewives of Potomac check, and maybe she don't care who she hurt, but again, I don't feel that bad for Jacqueline because there's something about Jacqueline that lets me know that you act like Mia. You just might be a little more sensible, but birds of a feather flock together, bro. You have not been friends with Mia that long for you to just be all shocked about her behavior. You seen her behavior, you just never thought it would happen to you, and it did, and it is what it is. So we'll see next episode. So let's get into this colorism conversation. All right, y'all. So this colorism conversation, when I tell you everyone irritated me. Everyone. And I mean everyone. So Andy opens this conversation up by saying, look, I'm a white man. Colorism doesn't affect me. I'm willing to sit here and listen. We did offer to give the ladies get a different person to mediate this situation. We asked each lady one-on-one, but none of them won. Like all of them opted out. He also said Candace had the most to say. She said she doesn't feel like the cast is colorist, but she feels like the viewership is. And I've always said that, but I do think in this segment, colorism did rear its head. I also feel like the fact that none of them wanted to have a mediator speaks volumes of y'all not really wanting to attack the situation. Like y'all should have had somebody there who's versed in this conversation, versed in this in colorism, to have this conversation, to actively probably have effective dialogue and actually dead this conversation going further as the seasons continue. But the fact that y'all was on that stage pretty much playing games, it was annoying because you have Candace, because Andy's like, Candace, you can take the floor. And Candace is like, before we have this conversation, we all need to agree on what we think colorism is. So she reads the definition. Everyone agrees. Candace then reiterates like, I often get called emotional, aggressive. My mouth is so reckless. And then they show her getting into it with Ashley and throwing the butter knife on the floor. But yet Robin has had even more aggressive moments where they show the umbrella scene. They show her in Ashley's face at the kangaroo hut. And that's why I will never respect or give credit to Monique. Because that lady, Robin, bucked up to you. All you could do is put that umbrella in her face, but you had the nerve to put your hands on Candace, who was like 3 times smaller than you, and you knew you was gonna win, but you ain't have enough courage or guts to pop Robin in the face. Will never give that lady that. I will never give. That's why y'all. Ooh. That's why when people be like, "Well, you gonna get hit by Monique." To Candace, it doesn't hit for me because that lady is a coward. She didn't have the balls to actually put her hands on Robin, but you had guts to put your hands on Candace when you know she's smaller than you and you know she's not a fighter. You're lame. Always going and forever be lame to me. Always gonna be forever lame to me. So, so Robin tries to be like, well, I've been getting called a mean girl, a bully, and aggressive. And Candace is like, this season is when you've been called that. I've been called that ever since. And my thing about it is, what Candace is saying is true. Candace hasn't said anything more worse compared to Robin, Gizelle, Karen, Ashley, or even Mia. Karen told Gizelle she has STDs. And she was in an insane asylum. But she's not labeled that she gets low and into the gutter. Gizelle wore a shirt about Ray's tax issues, hoping that he didn't get locked up or for like not paying his taxes. But Giselle's not labeled as gutter. We've seen Robin buck up to several people, but no one labeled her as that. Mia been throwing food and drinks on people, but everybody thinks it's a kiki and it's funny because it's Mia. Then you have Ashley, who told Monique that she had a drinking problem, and that might be the reason why, her miscarriage happened. But Ashley's not vile and her mouth ain't foul. But Candace's mouth is. And y'all got annoyed with Wendy bringing up her 4 degrees. And I've always said the fans be making it worse. And I think Candace just wants the women to own the fact that they see it, but they act like they don't see it. And I think that's what other people who are like, well, how can Candace say she doesn't think the women are colorists, but then talks about colorism online? I think she wants the ladies to call out the colorism online and show like a united front. But they don't do that. They just let Wendy and Candace out to dry and to defend themselves. And I think she wants them to help, and they're not helping. You then got Gizelle being like, I need to, like, she was like, I don't get how you being emotional is colorism. And I'm like, Gizelle, you're not stupid. You're not that obtuse. Stop being obtuse. Stop being dense. You're an AKA. You've been an AKA for probably like 40 something or 40 or 30 something years since the last time you've been in college. Like, you know what those things are founded on. You know what the context of how they do AKAs. I went to an HBCU, girl. I know how it rolls. We always say the light skins are the AKAs. The deltas are the brown skin or the dark skin girls. The zetas are the plus size chicks. And then Sigma Gamma Rho is supposed to be for the facially challenged girl. And mind you, at my college, it was very mixed. Like, it wasn't like, there wasn't all light skin AKAs. There wasn't all brown skin deltas. It was very mixed. But back in the day, a lot of people said that. A lot of people told me, like, that's how they roll. That's how they roll. But now it's changed. But you're not going to get me to believe that Gizelle, because Gizelle probably went to school in, like, I don't know, the 70s. Probably in the 70s or the 80s. Like, we're not going to act like that stuff wasn't prevalent back then like that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. It's the fact that Gizelle thought everyone was going to believe her story because she has pretty privilege and has probably been told she's so beautiful because she's light-skinned with green eyes. She knows for a fact. It's the fact that Gizelle, I don't know if her Instagram like profile pic is still just a picture of her eyes, because she knows that's the asset that is the most valuable on her, because she's that makes her look exotic. I was like, Gizelle, stop acting like you don't understand what's going on. Then Ashley chimes in and was like, I've never fought with any of you guys because of the color of your skin. I've always fought with you because we've had disagreements, but I've never had beef with y'all. And I can tell y'all, like, I'm privileged. I know I'm privileged because I'm light skinned. And then when Candace started like, thank you, that's all I wanted you to do, thank you, I wanted to shake her. Because I'm like, why are you crying at the bare minimum of her recognizing that she has privilege? Why are you crying? Why are you crying? That's the least she could do. That's what she's supposed to do. Why are you crying? This is the same woman that called Wendy ferocious, knowing that was a dog whistle. Then you got Wendy sitting on there, thank you, Ashley. I'm not thanking you for stating the obvious. And the fact that both Wendy and Candace were like being so like, thank you, I wanted to shake them, because I was like, y'all are the issue too, because y'all let them slide because you want to be cool with them. And they have given you their asses to kiss every single time. And it's like Candace about to, I wanted to hit her. Because I was like, what are you doing? Why are you about to cry for that? That is nothing. That's the least she could do. This show's not going to run my blood pressure up. You then got Mia saying, I'm raising a brown-skinned girl. Like, it's hard for people to say that I'm being a colorist because I would never do that to my kid. And then Gizelle says the same thing. And it's like, girl, I get it, Mia, and I get what Gizelle's saying, but we're not going to act like y'all can have dark skin or brown skin kids and be light skin or biracial and still actively practice colorism with them kids. And then they were like, this was a very productive conversation. It wasn't. It was stupid. And y'all could have did better. Y'all could have definitely did better and actually tackled these situations. In all regards, and honestly, in all honesty, there needs to be a shift with Potomac. Like, I don't see the point in y'all going any further, because I definitely could see Potomac being put on the shelf after like season 9 or season 10. Like, if they make it to then, because a lot of people have been saying they're going to opt out for next season, for season 8, if there's not actively a change. And at this point, I really think they either need to get rid of Karen or Gizelle, because Gizelle, the fact that we found out you have a sister and it's season 7 doesn't make sense. Karen can't really give us any more other than made up storylines, and I'm over it. I would keep Robin, but I would demote Robin. I'll keep Ashley because I feel like both their stories can continue, but we need to add new people, because at this point, they're not giving us anything. And this colorism conversation is getting annoying, because at this point, y'all know it exists, but you're not going to actively do anything about it. So why have the conversation? Just to like do like have a little kisses and rainbows moment. Oh, I'm glad we had this conversation. The conversation was stupid because nothing really no headway was made. And the only reason I guess Gizelle and Robin were listening is when Karen spoke up about owning her family's plantation and saying that, we knew the darker skinned slaves were out in the fields, the light skinned slaves were in the house. And, Candace just wants you guys to listen that she is being treated unfairly by the viewership, or let her know that you understand and feel what she's saying. And it was like, why can y'all listen to Karen and not interrupt her, but you want to interrupt Candace? That says a lot. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below. Yeah.